Hello, everybody. And today I'm going to be interviewing Julie Torra, and I am so excited, and I think Julie is as well. And so, yeah, we're basically going to, if you're going to listen up, basically, because what we're going to be talking about today is really a key. It's a massive key to being more of, being the lighter, brighter you, basically. Yeah, it's just going to be such an amazing conversation. So thank you, Julie. How are you today? And how is it where you are? Where are you actually? You're in Cambridge in the US.
I come from Cambridge in England, and I live in Colorado, and it's just outside of Boulder, Colorado, and it's beautiful. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's been warm and lovely and sunny.
Really? Mm-hmm. It is actually really nice here as well at the moment. It's like a warm August. It's lovely.
Oh, good.
So I'm out in nature a lot.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, so it's all good. And yeah, just thank you first of all, because the way this conversation has come about was because we had this inspired conversation last week, and then on the back of that you did this amazing video called Awaken with Nikken, and I've just listened to it again before this interview, and it just needs to be listened to a few times because it's actually an experience. It's a lecture and an experience. I've actually written loads of notes, but sometimes it's just good to just sit back and listen. Every single sentence is almost a nugget. It's so rich with content, and so yeah, so we got inspired, didn't we? We're on a bit of a roll here with interviews and stuff.
Yes.
And I love interviews, and I actually I was on a call with the Nikken team this morning, and I said I'm going to be interviewing Julie Torra, and they went, "Oh wow!" So you are a much sought out after speaker. We know that, and you have spoken in front of thousands and really inspire people with all your passion for co-creativity and well-being, and just totally inspiring and uplifting people. And yeah, it's just great to be with you today. And before I go into sort of more of the introductions, because we've really sort of gone into our sort of authentic selves with, really saying everything that's speaking our truth, really. And so for people who are listening, sometimes we might say things that might be a little bit of a bridge too far for some people. And so what I want to say is, let's just come as explorers. And if there's something that doesn't quite resonate, to part that and just come back to it later. And don't leave, just come with an open heart and be curious. And yeah, it's just amazing stuff, basically. So just a little bit more about Julie before I go into the questions. And so Julie's had an amazing background when she from a child, I mean, absolutely staggering with ballet. So really like a ballet professional. And I mean, I kind of want to go into that a little bit at some point with you, but you were a professional ballet dancer with the Royal Ballet of England and then the Dutch National Ballet in Holland. So you had a whole career up to the age of 20, from the age of 3 to 20, I think it was, yeah. I mean, that's massive, at that age. That's your formative years to do that. And ballerina, I mean, how beautiful it's beauty. What you were doing, the movement and everything, the natural movements, that's all part of you. And so, yeah, it's definitely worth a mention that, yeah, and something we need to explore at some point. I'm sure that time has helped you all along the way in some way, and yeah, you have this, and then you had a second career with energy healing, being an energy healer, and you've been teaching about frequency now for 40 years. And also microbiotics, so that's all about working with the universal natural laws, and with with nature and what have you. Yeah, you've got this amazing story about your mother, which I think it's the same for a lot of us when we have a very particularly painful experience. That's how we get to the light. And I was actually thinking about your experience today, and I really resonate with with your story, and I can understand how you've got to where you are potentially because of that story with your mother. And I've also got a similar story, and it made me think, actually, this is also why perhaps I'm doing what I'm doing. It's almost like I'm doing it for her, kind of thing. So I want you potentially to talk a little bit about that, because I think it's sort of help. It's it's partly why you're doing what you're doing, and so you've with Nikken, you've really gone to great heights, and you've reached the highest level, Royal Diamond, it's called, and yeah, I was actually a little bit intimidated when I first met you. I know, but that's silly. Sorry to embarrass you. It's my fault. It's me completely. But anyway, I'm over it. But I just thought that's brilliant.
Definitely not a person that's here to intimidate anybody ever.
Exactly. No, exactly. You're just totally down to earth, which is amazing. And you're also at the moment with Gaia, which is the education platform for conscious education, and you interview people, and you really enjoy doing that. So you're sometimes the other side of the mic.
That's right.
Yeah, so it is really good to empower people and to help people shine, and it is good being the host as well.
Love that. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So so with that, can we, unless there was anything else you wanted to add right now, that was okay?
Yeah, super.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into some questions. And so my first question, Julie, is why do you do what you do? And that's personally, and also for impact.
Why do I do what I do? Well, first, hello, everybody. I hope you enjoy this. I do what I do because I'm asked to do what I do.
Yeah.
And that's really fundamentally it. I follow what I hear and what I'm guided to do. And it's always been that way, actually, really all my life. And that's, my very, very first memory, I was probably, 3 months old, was I came on a mission. I was asked to come. I agreed to come, and I'm good with this. I'm here and I'm good with this. And I was out in nature in my pram, I assume, and I was listening to the birds and watching the sun filter through the trees. And I thought, oh, wow, all that light, the golden light, I like it here. I'm good with this. And that has fueled me all my life. That I knew I came on a mission. So,
right.
Because that's where I feel the most fulfilled, and it is kind of like following the breadcrumbs through the forest, Hansel and Gretel or whatever. It's just, oh, this came, oh, maybe I'll go take a turn here and take a turn there. And that's how I've done my life. And even with ballet, actually, and I did start at 3, it's amazing. But I also played violin, and then I played clarinet, and I was tussling between music and dance. And then I can remember seeing the Royal Ballet School when I was 9. My mum showed me the Royal Ballet School in the middle of Richmond Park, and she showed me the school. She said, that's the Royal Ballet School. And I just looked at it and I thought, that's my school.
Yeah.
That's where I belong. And it's so funny how that is. And everybody's had that experience where you just connect like that. And it's like, it was a done deal already. I was already there. Now, of course, I had to take all the auditions, and I didn't know all the hoops I had to go through, but I just knew it was where I belonged. Like, that was my next step. And that was exactly the same with Nikken, actually. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm a Royal Diamond. That's what it is. That's where I belong. And so I took that, immediately. It was because it was shown. Yeah. So when things are shown, it's the same when you meet your beloved or whatever, it's like, it's the same thing. You kind of go, oh, pay attention now, because we have a destiny. We have a purpose. We have a destiny. Yeah. I think we have free will. We can thwart our destiny, but the destiny is still going to win out. It's definitely going to win out over just, willy-nilly free will.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, you're obviously ready to receive those messages as well. You were open to receive that.
Yes.
The inner knowing kind of thing, and you acted on it, you know, which is not so many people do that. And so, you know, in a way, you were just yourself, and
Yes.
you know, you were lucky to have done that.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right on that action piece, because I do remember when I was in Dutch National Ballet asking the question, you know, to my guides, to the universe, to God, saying, why do we suffer so much? Because I was reading Cancer Ward by Solzhenitsyn at the time, and it's all about suffering. And this voice came in and said, your life is about healing. Right. And I knew that was true. And I left everything I knew. I broke my contract and left within 2 weeks.
Oh, right.
I went back to London and started studying macrobiotics. I stumbled across that on Old Street because they had Sufi dancing. Yeah, stumbled upon it, you know, and whoop, there it was. Yeah. And all these children there had so much light. And I was like, what's going on with these kids? They've got so much light. If I have children ever, which I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, but I knew I sort of would. I always felt that was in my destiny.
You have got children, I
have 3, and 4 grandkids now. And I was like, these kids are so full of light. If I have children, I want my children to be like that, you know, just what's going on here. And that's when I started studying the frequency and light and what's happening, and and
food and what have you.
All the laws of the universe that macrobiotics teaches, which includes food, but it's a lot bigger than that.
I mean, I'm just quite amazed. I mean, people do say that they know that they've got a mission, and that they receive these messages and guidance, you know. I don't know whether that's me actually, until, I mean, I know I'm totally compelled now to do what I'm doing. Maybe it's just I wasn't ready to receive or remember what I was here to be born to do, you know.
It's a good catch, because it is about remembering. It's literally about remembering.
And I've come back into my body over the past couple of years, and so it's much more apparent, and you just feel this force within you.
So great. Absolutely.
So I get that now, and so lucky you know, you were there already, but remembering. So I guess because you were connected with your body so much with the ballet, that was another reason, you know, potentially.
And everything. It taught me, I mean, many things, you know, discipline, of course, working with the body, of course, performing, being on stage, so that it wasn't so freaky when I ended up speaking in front of 12,000 people or whatever. But there was this not knowing that as much as I love moving the body and creating beauty, I also knew there was something that needed to be spoken through me. It wasn't like I had things I wanted to say at all. It was like something wants to be spoken through me. And so when I had that message, your life's about healing, I was like, I didn't even think about speaking at that point. I just thought about learning, studying, which I did. But it's funny how it's come to this place of being, you know, public speaker and writing and like communications through the word, which I think the word is incredibly powerful. How we use words. Words are, it's spelling, spells, and we can make wonderful spells and we can make terrible spells through our words. So it's just funny how I can remember that. I can remember performing and going, yes, I love expressing my body, but something else wants to come through.
Words. Amazing. You got, you know, your voice kind of thing. So I'm just fascinated. I always, when I first meet people, I'm really interested in everything. I want to know everything, you know. So let's go, when I was asking about the why and the other things more about, you know, generally about the world, you know, and the timing, you know, we talk about it's the time now.
Well, yes, I mean, there is tremendous suffering on this planet. There always has been on the 3D level, and of course I witnessed a lot of it, as I believe you did, with my mother and her suffering, and the route that she took in Cambridge, England, was to give her power over to the medical profession, to allopathic medicine. And people say to me, what's allopathic medicine? I'm like, it's the medicine of the day right now, but it didn't used to be that way. You know, there's many other medicines from the past, ancient medicines. And so, you know, watching her fall, shall we say, from grace. I mean, she was an incredibly talented woman. You know, she was a concert level pianist. She was an amazing singer. She was an actress.
Wow.
She was in movie films, you know, And then I saw this fall, you know, through the drugs, through the pharmaceutical drugs and the electric shock treatments and then the pethidine, which was a opiate used at the time, you know, and my father was a doctor, my stepfather was a doctor, all my stepbrothers were doctors. And I wanted to help people heal, well, particularly her initially, and then many others. And then I thought, this isn't the way, not my way. This isn't my way. This isn't the way that I think true healing occurs. And actually, I was so distraught by what was happening with the pharmaceuticals and what I saw happening that I sort of wanted to take them down. You know, I was angry. As a teenager, I was very angry at what was happening, that she was becoming a drug addict. I mean, that's what happened. And then she just kind of lost herself completely. And the darkness came in, you know, through her sleep time and so forth. And I wanted to take them down, but you know, it was like David and Goliath, right? And it was like, how am I going to take pharmaceuticals companies down? And then I thought the best way to do it is help everybody get healthy and radiant and well, and then they won't need the pharmaceutical companies. And if something's not needed in the world, it can't survive, it can't live, right? I mean, you know, in terms of commerce and everything. So I was like, that's the way, that's how I'm going to do it. And so that's been, and you know, we're just wanting to help and wanting to help children, whether they are put on drugs or not. And I'm not saying all drugs are bad. Some drugs are brilliant and save people's lives. So it's not like it's all bad. I don't believe that. It's just how they're used. My mother was very conscious. She was very intuitive. She used to talk to me about the magic of numbers and the magic of the star systems. And I was like, oh, yes. And that's where we really connected, you know, was on that consciousness level. And so when you take pharmaceuticals for mental illness, it completely dulls down your consciousness and you lose it. And so it's completely disempowering. So that's what I wanted to do, and help any child who had a mother who was becoming an opiate addict also, you know. So I thought if I could help other children to not have that experience, that would be good.
So basically your wellness journey has been because of your mother rather than yourself particularly.
And
anger, the anger, and that is what always, it's sitting with the anger and transmuting it and turning it into something positive, which is the first step of becoming a leader, really. To sort of shine that light and brings goodness into the world.
Well,
what we're meant to be doing.
If you look at David, Hawkins' work, when he talks about, the calibration of energies, and he's talking about emotional energies, anger and hatred and shame and guilt are the low frequencies, and you can't create from them. You really can't create. Certainly you can't co-create with others that way. So it's about moving up, right? And so I read that book, many years back when it first came out, and I was like, yeah, that's right. We got to calibrate at the higher levels. So we got to do everything we can to figure out how do we calibrate at least the level of love, which is 500. I mean, courage and acceptance 200, but 500 is love. And then it goes higher to joy. And then it goes higher to enlightenment and peace beyond 700. And so that's how we change things. That's how we change the world. That's how we manifest a different world, which is, of course, what we're doing now is a new heaven and a new earth, a new heaven within and a new consciousness, which isn't really new. It's actually remembering our true consciousness, and that we are connected to all of life, every star system, the earth, each other, every animal. We are connected. And once we start reconnecting and remembering, literally and figuratively, we can birth a new earth. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So exciting. And I always felt that. I was always thinking, there's like a new age coming. There's a golden age coming, and we're at the dawn of it. This was long before I ever heard of the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I never knew that. But as a child, I was like, there's a golden age coming, and I'm part of that. I'm part of that dawning.
You knew that when you were younger. That's amazing. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, little girl. I used to sit outside a lot and to let the sun come in and see the rainbows through my eyelashes. And I still do it. I was doing it yesterday. And I would just get the information, right? Because the information's coming through nature. It's coming through these portals of magnetic energy from the sun and the earth. And all this information is coming in. And we need that information to remember who we are and why we're here and what we're going to do to support and help and empower our world. It's so beautiful.
I mean, I learned that from about the concept of information coming from the cosmos. I learned that from Barbara Wren in the Cellular Awakening, and she talks about how having your cells, when you're fully hydrated, your cells can hold more light around the cell membrane through electrons and protons.
Yes, correct.
And how your cell is actually a light ring if you're fully hydrated. And the fact it's all information that then connects us back to our purpose and our true self. And so, I've only just recently understood that concept, and it's quite information, vibration, consciousness.
Light comes in on all kinds of levels. I mean, the last few days we've had such beautiful weather here and warm that I go out in a bikini and lay in the grass, and that the sun come as much as I can. The sun come. Now I'm Celtic, right? Absolutely, red hair and freckles. So I have to be. So I always do it early morning. I'll go out and I let the early morning sun come in, which is why the sun salutation, in yoga. And in the afternoon, I was letting the late afternoon rays come in, because the more it can come in through my body, through my skin, right, which is why I put my bikini on, is that the more information I will be receiving for every cell. So you are correct. I mean, hydration, and of course we have very special water and light energies with Nikken, but it's not any old water that's going to do it. It has to be, microstructured and all the rest, and mineralized. But in the water, in the air, in the earth, all of this is giving us this reconnecting information that is critical for the rising of consciousness. And that is really why I'm here, is to help raise the consciousness on the planet by doing it myself, and then helping others do it and finding the tools. And in ancient civilizations, which I was watching last night on Gaia, I got so excited. One of the things it was talking about was that the interstellar beings that were, have been recorded on Earth for millennia, you always had devices. They always had a device to change the frequency, so they could go through the wormholes, through the portals, through the gates. And so that's kind of what we're doing also, like with Nikken and with our food intake and everything else, is we're changing the frequency. They're devices, right? This is why biohacking is a new word, right? Biohacking is, what do we do to biohack, with our sleep and our day? So, and it absolutely works. I mean, and the higher frequency you live at, the more you're not in fear. I mean, I have to say, this whole last year, I have not been in fear at all about the so-called V. And it's just fascinating. I'm like, wow, because I just know that as I stay in my joy, and I've always been a very joyful being, the more I can help the world. And I was listening to Pam Gregory this morning. She just did a little 15-minute thing on frequency. And she just did an exponential amount. The higher our frequency, the more millions we can affect with that. Even if we don't talk to anybody, even if we're just in our home or just walking out in nature, as you and I do a lot, we're still affecting the frequency, because it's connected. It's
collective.
And the heart is critical. The heart piece is absolutely essential. That we're connecting through the heart, not just the mind and ideas.
Okay, I've got loads of little. I'm writing keywords here with circles around them. Okay, so we're going to just like unravel this a bit, unpick it. So when we were saying about how to raise our frequency, and we're talking about Dr. David Hawkins. What's it called?
Pyramid. Calibration chart.
So nature is neutral, which I think is 200, and then so it's basically neutral, and then it's courage, and then it goes into the higher vibrations.
Gotcha.
So basically, when you're with nature, that's where the starting point of your journey to betterment kind of thing, to get into those higher vibrational things. And that's what I talk about when in my forest bathing as well. But it's actually calibrated. And you mentioned about joy as well, so let's talk about those two things, heart and joy, because they're with vibration. So we're going a little bit I want to talk about those two things as well, maybe around Nikken now. So of course we'll talk about the nature of the product because it brings nature indoors, and we can talk about that. Maybe we talk about that first, but I also want to talk about how the joy and the heartfelt connection you get when you work with others in community, and in something purposeful. I mean, I resonate with that word joy when I feel like I'm helping other people, and it's just, I feel in flow when people are able to receive what I want to give with my heart, because I've got a big heart. Yes. It brings me joy when it's received. So I've got this, sometimes people don't want to be helped. And I can't help them. But if I can, then that brings me joy.
Yes.
And that is why I get excited when I have my calls and what have you in the morning. That gets me up in the morning. So I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to say, but I want to hear it from you as well. So maybe go back a little bit. We're talking about moving into the Nikken thing. We're talking about nature and the products and what have you. And we met over Bruce Lipton. With
epigenetics.
That's how we bonded. So I don't know where to start, really.
Well, I will say that I think because of having that experience in my home of so much instability, and it was quite frightening actually, with my mother, because she used to sleep with the kitchen knives under her pillow and things like this, and she was pretty deranged. So my go-to was nature. So I was always going out climbing trees and cycling, climbing haystacks. Often I'd have a little book because I always liked reading from a very young age. But I think nature was my solace. And nature was where I would go, and I would heal there because I couldn't understand all this frenetic, dramatic human stuff. But I could feel nature loving me. And I always felt as a child in Cambridge, I was a fairy and I was part of the fairy kingdom. And that's just what I knew to be so. And that I was here to help nature flourish and help humans connect to nature, so that they would understand that without nature you don't live, and so they would give back to nature, give back to the earth, Gaia, the goddess. So very feminine oriented, very goddess oriented, for sure. And so that journey started so young, so little, 3-4 years old. I was always off on my own out there, playing, and talking to nature, talking to the trees and so forth, and feeling their love for me and my love for them. So that's kind of where that began. And then of course macrobiotics is all based on the laws of nature, so that has and so I learned a lot there, and I was really excited. Plus I was really interested in astrology and the frequencies of consciousness already by that age. As a teenager, I really got into sort of things like Chariot of the Gods, Eric von Daniken's work, extraterrestrials coming. And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, why would it be that way? We're not the only ones here, I'm sure about it. So all of that was resonating. And then I had my, healing and doing healing work. And I loved that. And my healing center. And then Nikken came. And I was kind of like, what? But I had prayed for something. I said, show me, how I can really support my family, my 3 children. We had 6 children altogether. How can we support this big family? And as a macrobiotic teacher, it's not really happening. And as a healer one-on-one, it's not really happening, but I love all that work. And show me, and I surrender. And it's always about surrender. It's always about surrender for me. It's like, not about me. It's not about Julie trying to control things. Goodness knows, like I can't control myself. I have no desire to control anybody else. Control is not in my repertoire, but letting go and allowing something new to form. So that's when I was shown Nikken, and I got a very clear yes about it. Very clear yes. And because it's about nature's frequencies, I was captivated. I was like, these are devices. These are kind of what the, interstellar, beings were using. These are devices to help us raise our consciousness. And as a byproduct of that, physically, we're much healthier. So we don't hurt and we aren't anxious and stressed, so that, all the stress goes down just like it does when we're in nature. Stress diminishes and drops, and you feel happy and joyful and you want to sing, or you walking by the seaside or whatever, your body wants to sing, you feel it. You feel joyful. So
it's about getting back into balance initially, isn't it?
Yes, you get back into balance and all the stress disappearing, and you're like, why was I so worried and anxious and distrusting life and the universe? And you just calm down. And so that there's all these byproducts that happen with the Nikken technologies. But the thing that thrilled me was, oh my gosh, this is about nature, the Earth's magnetic field, which connects in through the portals, gateways to God, to the gods, magnetic fields. It's about the sun's energy, that is the frequency that is the most health promoting frequency of light. It's all about that. So when we're not outside, we can actually have the light. When we sleep on it or sit on it, we're getting that light, even though we can't see it with the physical eye. And the water was just fascinating to me. And I'm very excited because we're now bringing out a hydrogen aspect to that, to create hydrogenated water. But the PIMAG water was just a fabulous other revelation. But I had learned in air, negative ions, right? Air and the frequency of brilliant, sparkly light of the air, of negative ions, and what that does for us. And that's a mood shifter right there. That's called the happiness. There's a book called The Happiness Effect. I have it upstairs. The Happiness Effect. It's all about negative ions. So, but the magnetic field I had heard about through macrobiotics, because we learned walk early in the morning barefoot on the grass where the dew is still there, and you get this conductivity and it will keep you healthy. So, and it was connected in with the kidneys and helping keep the kidneys healthy and so forth, but the whole body. And sleep with your head to the north, because you want to be part of the connecting of the magnetic flow, and keep your head to the north, which when you're in a Nikken sleep system, you don't have to worry if your head is to the north or not, although I give it mind, and my head is actually, is it to the north? It's going toward north, but not full north, not pure north. And I was like, oh, I learned about this. And here's a way I can bring magnetics in, so it's really the magnetics was what got me absolutely psyched out of my mind.
Well,
and
that's interesting.
Like, it's the most exciting.
It's the most exciting, and Nikken, the leader in magnetic research.
Yes.
And it's so undiscovered as well. Because every time I go into it, then I've got more questions as well. It's kind of like fascinating.
Yes.
And I'd love to have loads of conversations around just that topic, because we don't know all the answers, but it's transformational as well.
I think what's really cool is that the more we connect into the magnetic field of the planet, and of course the sun has a magnetic field too, so we connect in with that too, is that we become more and more magnetic. So the more light you bring into the system, the more you become, the more you're really not only protecting, but supporting and really cultivating the light body, which yoga talks about, Qigong talks about, Tai Chi talks about, macrobiotics talks about with food. You're cultivating the light body. The more you do that, the more magnetic you become, so that you literally can magnetize naturally and effortlessly your right life, your true friends, your what's meant for you. It can come more easily, because you actually become the temple. You actually become the portal of light. So I have always wanted to go travel to all the sacred sites of the world. I was always like, that's a cool thing to do. And then of course I've gone to some, but not many yet. And then I just started to realize, well, I am a sacred site. You're a sacred site.
Wow, I love that.
Right? We are portals. We are portals of light. And the more we create that magnetic, spinning vortex, the chakra system, and it's thriving and flowing and everything's connecting within, as within, so without, then we can start having unbelievable experiences through dreams, through meditation of other realms, other planets,
which is a good thing.
Other family, our family.
It's not scary.
Not scary at all, because you're protected by the light. The light is the greatest protection. We sometimes think that the protection is to close down. you know, and because the ego, you know, so, oh, you know, it's not safe, you know, your heart's not safe, you just got hurt, you just got betrayed, you're closed down. But that is the worst protection. That isn't a protection at all. In fact, that leaves you very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Which is why forgiveness is so critical. Because as you forgive, you can open up your heart again. As you forgive, you can flow again. Whereas if you're not in forgiveness and you're in that closed state, you are susceptible to dark forces, because they love that. You know, they love it. When you're in hatred, they love it. When you're in anger, they love it, because they can feed on that. That's food for them.
Yeah.
For the dark
it's not just wrapping yourself around the duvet, the Nikken duvet.
That can help a lot, though. I do all the time. But yeah, I love it. Every night I get to bed, I get into, it's like getting into a crystal, because it's crystalline, right? And it's like getting into this protective, loving mother, very much like really pure goddess mother energy. And the divine feminine, of course, is awakening on our planet now. And she to love her and be loved by her is incredibly important. A lot of my poetry has to do with the great mother, you know, and nature.
Crystalline, can you explain that concept to people?
Well, you know, like actually it's interesting, last night in this episode 8 of Ancient Civilization series 1 is he talks about, you know, crystals and how, you know, in order to create these special vortexes on the planet where we can travel to other places at these sacred sites, you need crystal, but we are crystalline. We actually are crystalline all the way through the body. And so when, you know, like you take Nikken and they use tourmaline, which creates that, you know, piezoelectric energy, you're activating the crystalline body. And the more crystalline we become, the more we are in our ascension process.
Yeah.
Through the body, not out of the body. You know, I think it used to be thought of as if you got to shoot out of the body through meditation and just shoot out and then, you know, become, you know, ascended out there. No, you become ascended in here.
Yeah.
In here. And so
you become inside, you know, you just land in yourself, basically.
Yes, in your true self.
In your true
because
self.
There is, you know, we all have a battle. There's a battle for the soul. I just put a new poem up yesterday on my Songs of Gaia page. There's a battle of the soul constantly. It's the battle of the light and the dark. And the darkness is the ego. Not to say we don't need an ego occasionally. It can be helpful. Make sure you get on the train at the right time or whatever. You know, the ego can be helpful. And so it's not to hate the ego, but to understand the ego can become very dark and can attract a lot of other dark entities. If it's in a dark place, like hatred or, you know, grief. Grief is a natural process, but a darker place. Shame is a big one. It's just the lowest of the low. That's why we can't create from there. So we want to keep, you know, activating the light and understanding that battle's happening every day. Every day. Yeah. It's a beautiful day to go in nature, but did you do it? Maybe not. If you did it, you just won the battle that day, you know, because you did something for yourself that was really supportive and loving. And for the planet, she needs to know we love her. She needs to hear us say it and feel it. You know, that makes me want to cry, because she's hurting. She's in pain. And I'm going to get really upset, you know, because she needs our love. She needs all of us to honor her and respect her and respect the sun and respect the stars. And so Nikken's all about respecting nature and saying, look at these amazing elements that the universe, the architect of the universe has given us. Love them, respect them, honor them, you know, use them. The earth says, here's the bounty. It's, you know, late harvest now. Here's the bounty. It's yours to enjoy.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and please take care of me so that I can give you more bounty.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's how I did forest bathing. That's why I got into it in the first place. With my practice is because I wanted people to really connect so that then they could care, you know. That's how it's exactly what I was feeling. It was that pain as well. And so and the fact that we can receive nature's goodness in our homes, we need to, that's another way that we can connect and then really care, you know, not just for ourselves, because it's first of all self-care and starting to love ourselves again. It's like a two-way thing, isn't it? We love ourselves, and then we love the planet, we love ourselves. kind of thing.
And then each other, because the more open we are, the more connected we are, we can realize the connection with other beings. And I think that's, you know, you start with human beings is, you know, one of the beauties of Nikken is the business building, is that the you know, the key thing is to find others who can, like you said earlier, you know, when people can receive you, you feel this joy. And I couldn't agree more. It's such a wonderful feeling. And yet I've learned through Nikken particularly, and macrobiotics too, is to not expect them to get it, because so many times it doesn't happen. And so if I just give without expectation of receiving, when it is received, it is thrilling. It is so beautiful. And so when you're building a team with Nikken in order to help everyone become a pillar of light and, you know, on the planet, and really be able to move into this ascension process and the new age, it's you want to find people that get it, you know, that sort of are like you. I mean, not like you in an egotistical way, but in a spirit soul way. You want to find your soul family. When you find your soul family in Nikken, it becomes very effortless. It becomes very co-creative, and it's a dance. And it's just this amazing, amazing, amazing dance, and it's thrilling for everyone.
Yeah, you kind of feel like you're more at one, you know, it's like a kind of hive mind, you know, it's like you don't feel like you're independent anymore. You're, you know, everyone's doing it together. It's a feeling in itself, you know, just to melt into that.
Exactly. And that's how nature works, right? It's all interdependent. Nature's interdependent. The river's interdependent with the banks, and that with the roots of the trees, and everything is dancing together. And I see it like a dance, because probably I am a dancer, you know, but it's like I see it like this dance of life, and it moves me so greatly that it's so beautiful. It makes me weep, like, wow, like whoever designed this, like, oh my God, you know, like it's magnificent. We are magnificent. Nature's magnificent. The star system's magnificent. Astrology is incredible and magnificent. Numerology is amazing and brilliant. You know, physics is wow.
Yeah, and also like it's like Bruce Lipton's work again, but how we work together. It's like the cells, or you know, even though you've got an individual cell, nothing will work unless everything talks to all the different cells. And because we're a fractal of cells, you know, we're also cells, and how we all interact with each other, it's all natural, you know. So if you can sort of feel that force, and you know, Nikken's a very good business model in, you know, to allow that process to happen, those natural processes.
It's the perfect business model, because it cannot happen. You can't be successful unless you do it that way. You cannot be successful in Nikken unless you connect fully, deeply, intimately with others and help them. And the more you help them, the more you also win. That's why that win-win structure is so empowering. You cannot win alone. You are not at the top of a system. Like a royal diamond ship, people maybe think it's like a pyramid, but it's an inverted pyramid. Only reason people get to royal diamond is because they've helped a lot of other people get where they want to go. That's the only way it happens. It can't happen by themselves. They can't just say, you know, so it's brilliant. And I have to say, this is so exciting because, you know, when I was a child, I loved playing games and I was good at games for whatever reason. I don't know why, but Monopoly and card games and things. But what I always saw was that if I won, which was fun and thrilling, the others were not happy with me because they lost. And I really got it with my family, 2 sisters and my mom, and they were all competitive. And I was like, this is not fun. So then I try to lose and have them win. But then I'm like, that's not fun either, because now I'm losing and they're winning. Like in Monopoly, I'd be like, oh, you need some 500-pound notes? Here you go, you know. And I was always doling out the money to them, so to lift them up. But of course, you know, if you've got Mayfair and Park Lane and, you know, you got all the purple, you're going to win, you know, you're going to get there. You're going to win in the end. But I learned at about the age of 12, I made a decision, very clear decision, that I wasn't going to play games anymore. Because I didn't like this win-lose. I didn't like it. I didn't like that competitive side. And I really didn't like the sadness that they would feel, because I'm super empathetic. So if they felt sad, I felt sad, right? If they felt mad, I was confused. Why are you mad? I mean, it's just a game, but it really wasn't just a game, right? It's about energy exchange, right? Just take Monopoly as an example. When you're winning, you know, your energy field gets big, and you're like the, lady of the universe. And so it is an energetic thing.
Interesting.
And so they would feel victimized. So I got that, and I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. And so I have to tell you, when I found Nikken, I was like, oh my God, because I thought there must be a win-win game somewhere, or I'm going to invent one. I'm going to invent it. And I always told my family, I'm going to become a millionaire because I'm going to invent something nobody has and everybody needs. So I started thinking it was a win-win game, you know, but of course it had already been invented with network marketing. It had already been invented. And when I found out, I was like, oh my God, here we are, here it is. I can't win unless you win. Like,
collaboration.
Such a revelation. So exciting.
And it just feels good energetically like that as well. You know, it's a reciprocity, isn't it?
Yes.
And so it's a lovely, you just know that something's coming to come back. You're not quite sure how, but it will. And so you're in the giving mindsets, and it all just works out well.
It's very important that, because you don't want to get attached to it's going to happen this way with this person. There has to be and that is a big learning in Nikken, is just an unattachment. You just keep flowing out. You just outflow is critical, and inflow will happen. And I mean, some of my most thrilling moments in Nikken have been when I've had people that I've sponsored and helped and empowered go to Diamond, or become join the Millionaires Club, having made $1 million in the business, and that has been as thrilling as me winning the Consultant of the Year, or Team Taishi, or the best one I won personally was the Heart of Nikken. And I have the heart upstairs, big, beautiful glass blown heart, very heavy, very gorgeous, and swirling pinks and purples in it. And that blew me away, because that award, I mean, I had no idea, even when I got the Consultant of the Year, I never knew I'd get that. But the Heart of Nikken, I mean, actually both of them, because we spoke with mothers, it felt redemptive for my mother when I won the Consultant of the Year, because that's a business award of the top business builder. I felt that was redemptive to my mother, because I'd helped a lot of people with their health. And it brought meaning to her suffering in some way.
I get that completely. Right? No, I mean, that's why I actually felt ununderstood when you told me the story about your mother, why you were doing it. And there is a little bit of redemption there, because I'm doing the same.
Absolutely. There really is. And then the heart was sort of, because that's given by the consultants. And that award was really touching, because I felt like, the more I love, the more I open my own heart to love all of life and be in full acceptance of whatever, and also be discerning about who I'm going to play with and work with. I mean, there is discernment, of course, but the heart, it was so moving to get that award. I was just flabbergasted, gobsmacked, really, because I didn't know at all that was going to happen.
Well, you deserve it. And it's just nice, isn't it, to celebrate who you are, and we we all have to celebrate. But it's just so inspiring to talk to you today. We're going to have to wrap up in a minute. I know you've got another call in a few minutes.
I'll probably be late on it, but it's a group call. But
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping I answered some of your key question, because I know you had a question about when for new people. For new people who are learning about Nikken, I mean, just to become a customer is number one. You just become a customer and start using the products and start noticing what you feel, because you're going to be blown away. And then if you become a consultant, you don't really want to become a consultant unless you have some idea of building something with this, of really helping the world. Let me say, it's all about helping our world right now. And there couldn't be a more important time right now, because we have health crisis on our planet, and everybody's turning to, what do I do to start learning about taking care of my own health? So we've got that crisis happening, which is a huge opportunity for us with Nikken. We are the #1 magnetic company in the world. There's no one comes close. And not to mention everything else we have, air, water, and everything else, you know. And then also business-wise, people are really looking, you know, there's this huge thing happening, this great resignation. They're not going back to work. They don't like their work. They're like, I've had it with you employers, or I've had it with going into a little cubicle every day. I'm not going to do it anymore, because they've had a taste of being at home and what it's like to be at home. And so that we have a home-based business, right? That is huge for us, huge opportunity for us to show people a better way, or a different way, or if they want it. So the timing couldn't be more pertinent. But ultimately, it's about ushering in this new world, you know, keeping our focus on the light, keeping our focus on the joy and the bliss and the peace.
It's who you become, isn't it? Through the process. The actual business is the second thing that comes, you know, the money and what have you. But it's who you become, which is, it's a vehicle.
It's a vehicle for your personal transformation and for helping others transform their lives. It is a vehicle, but it's a beautiful vehicle. It's a beautifully constructed vehicle. And yes, the money can come, and a lot of it too. And it's wonderful because it just gives you more flow. And that flow allows you to travel more, to help people more, to, you know, do whatever those lovely things that you want to do. And so that's all there. But the fundamental piece is it's about it's about humanity right now. It's about humanity, and it's about our planet. We are in a crisis, and, you know, the planet, she will survive. Humanity may or may not survive. But the earth, she's going to, Gaia will survive. And Gaia is moving into this higher level, this higher chord of consciousness herself, into the higher chord, I call it, you know, it's like another octave, shall we say. And we are cells of the planet. We are cells of this planet. We are the neurons of this planet, and we have work to do. We have work to do here. And so it's about really coming together to help Gaia move up into this new world of, again, you know, within the heart and then without, but this new earth and humanity as well. And help humanity. So it's always fundamentally about visioning the future and helping galvanize everyone to be a part of this new world. And that's what it's fundamentally about.
About love, collaboration, helping each other on a one-to-one basis, you know, being in our sovereign power, our true selves.
Yes.
It's coming back to who we are. So this is just a vehicle to experience what we're here to do. It is
a vehicle. I wouldn't say it's just a vehicle, because it's kind of kind of diminishing it a little bit, but it's an incredible vehicle. Because don't forget, those interstellar beings, they needed devices to shift the frequencies in order to tap in. And we need those devices to tap in to the universe and its messages, so we can get the messages, so we can teleport if we want or whatever, but to get the messages of what needs to happen on the earth, because there's a lot of focus on this planet right now. We have a lot of help right now coming from other, you know, star systems coming to help, but there's also a big battle happening. It's very obvious, it's very clear. The battle of light and dark is happening. And even though we can say, okay, you know, behind it all is love. Yes, that is true. Yes. So it's a paradox. It's all one and all love. And within the duality of this plane, there's a battle happening. And so it's about being that light and beaming that light like a beacon of light, so that others can gather. Why are you such a beacon of light? What do I do? And you're like, well, you just need to reset the dial and, you know, eat like this. I mean, I have many videos on how to eat and what other things to do, but Nikken's a perfect vehicle right now on this planet. And it was divinely brought. It was a download to Mr. Masuda, who is the founder of the company. He was downloaded with this information. Human beings need the magnetic field of the earth. They're not getting enough. You can't live without it. You die, you get sick, you die without it. Give them back the magnetic field of this planet so they can have it with them all day long, every day. Necklaces, insoles, simple things that we work with, right? So it's a big picture, and then it comes down to become a product of the products yourselves. If you're going to be a business builder, it's a tax write-off. who doesn't love that? So on the practical 3D level, yay, great for that. You can write so much off building a Nikken business, traveling the world, you know, all that can be written off because you're building your Nikken business. That's very real and good and true. And yeah, so there's a lot to it. So there's the big picture, and then there's the everyday. Who do I, and this is what I made a list of 100 names. And I would go down the list and I would feel the vibration of the people, feel the vibration of the name. And when the name would shimmer or shiver, or not shiver, but shimmer kind of like with light, I'd be like, okay, that person.
Really?
And that's the one I would talk with. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to waste your time. It's like Harry Potter, right? I mean, you got your muggles and you got your wizards. Yeah. You want to work with the wizards because we don't have time right now to change the minds and hearts and souls of the muggles. If they're that lost and that forgotten, I mean, of course I want to help everyone.
But you're able to sort of go into the vibe of the name.
Yeah, you go into the vibe of the name because that vibe of the name numerologically is the vibe of you, and is, you know, an aspect of you. And also I would know these people, so I would be like, who's coming to me, or who is the universe saying, call so-and-so.
They'll find you.
So-and-so. So you're not wasting time in the mud. You're going up into the star systems going, okay, where are my star family? Oh yeah, there they are. And then, you know, gathering. And that's the community. That's the new community. And we're forming it on the planet. It's happening. It's so exciting. Age of Aquarius, it's happening. And I'm Aquarius rising, and I love astrology. I'm a Virgo sun, all about healing, but I'm a Aquarius rising, all about high technologies, magnetics and so forth, but all about community and freedom. And that's where we should complete, because freedom is ultimately it. And that's what the sovereignty of being means. I've been using this term for many, many years, back in the early 90s, this sovereignty, because I heard it. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's the truth. We need to be sovereign. And now everybody's using it. And I'm so happy because I'm like, finally, this idea of sovereignty of being is actually catching on, you know, because it is vitally important that you are sovereign to yourself.
We're being squeezed so much that it's like we haven't got a choice, but to actually wake up and say, right, we choose our true sovereignty.
It's perfect. It couldn't be better orchestrated, even though it feels horrible at times. It is perfect. Everything is perfect. I mean, Eckhart Tolle says, you know, if you live in acceptance, and then you live in joy of doing what you do, and then enthusiasm, bringing what you've got to bring, knowing it's your life purpose, knowing that you're being guided and supported in doing it, that's true fulfillment right there. You know, and then you have the community you really want of people that are really like-hearted and like-minded. I mean, my UK team's amazing. Yes,
really going for it now.
Yes, exactly.
You know, it's
and that's so heartening.
Really great people, you know, really like-minded and really interesting people. So yeah, that was another reason why I'm sort of going for it a bit more as well.
Absolutely.
You know, it makes you feel like more calm in yourself when you know that you're sort of part of something, and you know, belong to, you know, people that are like-minded. You think, oh yeah, you know, feel like I'm fitting in better.
Well, it's also fortifying, isn't it? Because it's very, I mean, why did people go to ashrams? You know, because they didn't want to be fortified in their spiritual growth, you know, and so we can create our own ashrams, you know, we don't have to go to India to do it. We can do it right here, right now. And we are the temple of the light. You know, we are the temple of the light, and we are the spark of the divine. We are that. And the more we know that, that's not about your ego. I am that I am is absolutely has nothing to do with the ego.
No, we are just what it is.
We are consciousness. And we are creating, and we are creators. And now is our time for creating on a level like I see it so clearly. Healers, creators, entrepreneurs, it's our time to really be fully incarnated.
I've got goosebumps. I'm feeling it in my hands as well, by the way.
I am too. My legs too.
Can you do that? I don't know. I've got my feet on my grounding mat, and maybe it's my hands are sort of feeling tingly with all that. My healing hands.
There you go.
Because I can feel it from our conversation. You know, even if it's a quantum field, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So I'm feeling all that light. So amazing, Julie. Thank you so much. I mean, this has been a great recording, and I know that so many people are going to hear and be inspired by this. So, you know, we've done some great work today. I'm going to listen again and again. You know, so much there. You know, I think you know,
those are the ears to hear. Those are the ears to hear will hear.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Those that you know can see truth, they see truth. Those that feel truth, they know truth. So, and that's all we can do, and that's enough.
Yeah.
And then we go back out in nature and play.
Yeah. And it's just one person at a time, isn't it?
Yeah. But that creates a big ripple effect, especially in network marketing, because you know 5 and they know 5 and they know 5, and you have exponential growth. Suddenly from 1 comes 100, then 100 comes 1,000, then 1,000 comes 1,000,000.
It's the power.
That's the power of the leveraging that happens in network marketing.
Yeah.
And in Nikken. So
yeah, that's so cool. All right. Well, I will leave you to get on with a bit late for your meeting.
I'll be fine.
Thank you so much. We'll have you know, learn to more about you. It's fascinating, and you know, it just means that I know you more, and you know, look forward to more conversations. So,
absolutely, with you too, Deborah. Thank you so much. It's a total pleasure. Okay. Much love and many blessings to everybody out there. Namaste.
Namaste. I will stop recording, and have a good day.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.